As someone who's interested in the future, I thought I'd give some predictions on what it's going to be like. I don't expect these predictions to be perfect, but it'll be interesting to look back at these in the future and see if I was spot on or if I was slightly delusional. When thinking of the future, one has to think exponentially, which I don't think comes naturally, and which is why many people underestimate how quick change will happen. Looking at the past, there were hundreds of thousands of years where we didn't advance very much. Then in the 1800s we had trains, and in the 1900s we had cars, and by now, the year 2015, we have already sent a rocket all the way to Pluto, which is billions of miles away. In the past 10 years alone, we have developed things which 10 years before that we wouldn't have thought were possible. My internet speed is about 1,000 times faster. We have cars that drive themselves, and we can have a conversation with something that we can put in our pockets. For the future, the exponential trend means that we could advance as much in the next 5 years as we did in the last 10, which is pretty mind-blowing. So given that exponential trend, this is what I predict for the next 10 years. The self-driving capability of vehicles will become standard in new cars and trucks. So in order to save money, companies will start replacing truck drivers with self-driving trucks. I'd guess that about a quarter of truck drivers will lose their jobs in the next 10 years, which will make some truck drivers perhaps becoming truck guards. In 20 years' time, I think that the concept of a professional truck driver will just not exist anymore. Supermarkets will improve the efficiency and automation of checkouts. I'd guess that in 10 years' time, there will be shops in which you can just walk in, pick something up off the shelf and walk out, and it will automatically be paid for directly from your bank account. And maybe people employed to still pack the shelves, but I think robots will also be used. Except where a supermarket decides to employ people purely for job creation, I don't think that there will be people at checkout counters. I think that will be pointless. There will probably be a few security guards who will be notified of potential incidents by computer systems programmed to identify suspicious activity. Governments and economic systems will take a long time to catch up with technology, leaving millions of people unemployed and struggling to make ends meet. This will also lead to more advanced crime and more advanced crime-fighting technology. We will continue to pollute more, increase our greenhouse gas emissions, increase our energy consumption, use up forests and other resources. This is because of the short-term profit motives which are built into our current economic system, which is very resilient to change. In about 25 years' time, I think that AGI, which is Artificial General Intelligence, will be able to do pretty much everything that humans can do, which will make human jobs completely irrelevant. By this time, governments and citizens will hopefully realize that the entire economic system no longer works, and a guaranteed basic income will have already been implemented in most countries, making it unnecessary to try to find a paying job. After this, the concepts of money and ownership will be phased out. One will be allocated a home, be able to switch homes, but nothing will really belong to anyone since everything will be in abundance. The result of this system change will be that we can change our priorities to address all the environmental issues that we've created, hopefully reversing the damage before it's too late. After 100 years, everything will become unrecognizable. Our AGI will have learned everything there is to know about consciousness and be able to build consciousness generators like brains. The idea of still having a meat-based body that can get damaged, wear out, and contract diseases will be ridiculous. We will still be consciousness that experiences adventures, but these adventures will be things that we cannot even fathom today. And I think the next challenge to AGI will be to protect us from extraterrestrial threats like comets and supernovas, and eventually the end of the universe.